Hi all, my name is Wolf. In this video, you will learn how to swap the peg of any Littlest Pet Shop to remove rust and bobbling issues. My subject for today is this dachshund who has a stiff peg and has something rattling inside of her. We're going to find out what that is in this video. Let's head to my crafting table. There's some important information you should know about Littlest Pet Shop pegs so that you don't make a mistake. The most important thing you should know is that pegs actually come in two sizes, a small size and a large size. Different molds have different size pegs, and I'll show on screen which molds have which pegs right now. In our case, the dachshund has a small peg mold, so I'll be using a peg like this. The other thing you should know is that Littlest Pet Shops with flocking and glass eyes have a different style peg. They have a peg like this with no spring inside. This prevents them from bobbling and just makes them roll back and forth like that. But they can be replaced with a normal Littlest Pet Shop peg to give them the full bobble. The other thing you should know is that Littlest Pet Shops that came with Blythe dolls, such as this Cocker Spaniel, have a peg which is fused into their head and isn't removable without a knife. Now that you know all about Littlest Pet Shop pegs, we can get started with the peg swapping process. The tools and supplies you will need to complete your peg swap is the pet you want to swap, a pet with a donor peg, a hairdryer, pliers, a dotting tool or other stiff and thin tool, and heat-resistant gloves or a towel to protect your hands from burns. I've moved to the floor just because there's a little bit more room to work here. So our first step is going to be to extract the peg from this donor chihuahua that I've got. For that, we need to plug in our hairdryer and get your towel ready. I have a towel because I don't have a heat-resistant glove and I want to make sure that I don't get burned when I'm using the hairdryer. What you're going to do is turn the hairdryer onto high and point it at the Littlest Pet Shop for about 30 seconds until it's warm and squishy. Once the pet is warm, to get the peg out of the body, you're going to tilt the head sideways and pull. Do not pull straight upwards, but you're going to pull at an angle. And now the peg is out of the body. While the head's still warm, grab your pliers, hang on to the peg, and pull it. If it feels too stiff, you can get your hairdryer and do another round of heating the head. And now you've got your small peg freed up. We're going to do this exact same process with the dachshund and get its rusty peg out. I've managed to remove the peg from the dachshund, and while I removed the peg, it had actually snapped in half. So you can see it was definitely time to replace the peg with how rusty and broken it is. Do you remember the rattle from earlier? It was actually caused by this thing that was inside of the head. This is the piece of plastic that's removed from the head when a hole is punched in to make room for the peg. And in the community, it's called a nipple because it kind of looks like one. It's a very silly name, but that's what we call it. Now that we have our healthy donor peg from our beloved Chihuahua, what we're going to do is take our dotting tool or some other thin, stiff object like a toothpick, and we're going to fit it in between the springs to prevent this clear plastic peg from going upwards. If we do not stop it, it will just keep going up like that, and we want to make it stop. So just insert it all the way through, and now that clear plastic piece will not jump up. What we're next going to do is fit the peg inside of the body. We're going to heat the body for 30 seconds until it's squishy. Now that the body is soft, we're going to fit the peg inside of the body. You'll want to press it all the way in until it's fully seated in the body so that it doesn't come loose. We're almost done with our peg swap. All we need to do is fit the head onto the peg, and we're going to do that by heating the head for 30 seconds until it's squishy. Now that the head is squishy, before it cools, we need to place it on top of the body. Once it gets to this point, just push the peg in, and it'll fit inside. If it accidentally goes through deep, no problem, just pull it out This might take you a few attempts to fully get it right, but eventually it'll get in there. Just have patience. It could take you a few tries, especially if it's your first time. And now our dachshund's bobbling normally, no rust in its little brain. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and now you know how to swap your Littlest Pet Shop pegs. Bye bye!